It was a Tuesday in early November, and I remember the air smelled like rain and the cheap cinnamon spray my history teacher, Mr. Hemmings, used to cover up the smell of old textbooks. My name is Kyle, and this happened during my sophomore year of high school. I thought lockdown drills were just annoying interruptions to my day. I was wrong. It started during fourth period. The bell for lunch had just rung, and I was in the third-floor science wing, packing up my bag. I had forgotten my phone in my locker, which was on the first floor, so I told my friend Marcus I'd meet him in the cafeteria. I took the stairs down, the ones by the boiler room, the ones nobody uses because the lights flicker. I was on the second-floor landing when it happened. The intercom crackled, not the usual beep-beep for morning announcements. This was a raw, screeching feedback loop, followed by a voice I didn't recognize. It wasn't our principal, Mrs. Davison. It was a man's voice, low and calm, like he was reading a grocery list. "Attention staff and students, secure the building. This is not a drill. I repeat, this is not a drill. Lockdown." My blood went cold. You know that feeling when your stomach drops out from under you? It was like that, but multiplied by 10. My legs just stopped. I was frozen on the landing. I could hear the distant sound of lockers slamming shut, then nothing. Pure silence. The kind of silence that has weight. I had two choices: go back up to the third floor or continue down to the first. But my locker, my phone, was on the first floor. Stupid, I know. But I was a kid. I didn't want to be trapped in a dark stairwell with no way to call my mom. I crept down the remaining stairs. Each step sounded like a gunshot in the quiet. When I reached the first floor door, the one with the little wire-reinforced window, I pressed my back against the cinder block wall and peeked inside. The hallway was empty. The lights were on, but they had that weird, sterile white glow. A single backpack lay on the floor near the water fountain, its contents spilled out. Pens, a crushed granola bar, a spiral notebook. Someone had dropped it and ran. That image stuck with me. The normalcy of it shattered. My locker was just 20 feet away, near the main office. I slid the door open just a crack and slipped into the hallway. The air was different down here, stale, and there was a smell I couldn't place, metallic, like copper. I reached my locker, my fingers trembling so hard I couldn't get the combination right. 243618, click. The lock popped. I grabbed my phone, my heart hammering against my ribs. That's when I heard it. Footsteps, slow, deliberate, not a student running, not a teacher. These were heavy, like work boots on tile, and they were coming from the main office hallway. I ducked behind a row of lockers, pressing myself into the small alcove where the janitor kept his mop bucket. I turned my phone screen off, clutching it to my chest. The footsteps grew louder, closer. Shuff, clomp, shuff, clomp. A shadow stretched across the floor in front of my alcove. It was long and distorted, like something out of a nightmare. The person, if it was a person, stopped right in front of my locker, the one I had just closed. I heard a soft click, then a voice. The same voice from the intercom, but now it was right there, just a few feet away. "Kyle, my name." He said my name. I stopped breathing. My brain couldn't process it. How did he know my name? I'd never heard this voice before in my life. The only thing with my name on it was the combination lock I had just used and the little laminated ID card tucked behind my locker's vent. He didn't try to open the locker. He just stood there. I could see the bottom of his boots, black, scuffed, covered in something dark that reflected the fluorescent light. I heard him exhale, a long, slow, satisfied sigh, like he was enjoying the silence. Then, the footsteps resumed, but they weren't walking away. They were walking toward the alcove. I squeezed my eyes shut. I remember praying to a God I didn't believe in. Please let it be a teacher. Please let it be a drill. But deep down, I knew. The way the air pressure changed, the way the smell of copper got stronger. It wasn't a drill. His boot came into view, 1 inch from the mop bucket. I saw his pant leg, dark denim, frayed at the bottom. He was close enough that I could hear him breathing. It was a wet, ragged sound, like he had something stuck in his throat. Then, the fire alarm went off. The screech was deafening. It echoed off every tile, every locker, every window. And in that chaos, I heard him laugh, a low, guttural chuckle. Then he ran, not away from me, but toward the gymnasium, toward the sound of hundreds of students flooding out of the cafeteria. I stayed in that alcove for another 10 minutes. When the police finally arrived, they found me shaking, covered in sweat, still clutching my phone. They cleared the building room by room. They never found him, but they found the knife, a hunting knife, left inside my open locker with a piece of duct tape wrapped around the handle. Written on the tape in black Sharpie was my full name and my home address. They never caught the guy. To this day, I don't know if he was a former student, a stranger, or something else, but I do know one thing. He knew exactly where to find me, and he wanted me to know that. My name is Danny, and this happened in my junior year of high school. I was part of the drama club, which meant I stayed late after school for rehearsals, usually until 7 or 8 p.m. By then, the building was mostly empty. Just a few teachers grading papers and Mr. Calloway, the night janitor. Mr. Calloway was a quiet man, older, maybe 60s, gray hair, always wore the same blue coveralls. He never talked much, just nodded and pushed his mop cart around. We called him Ghost because he moved so silently you'd turn a corner and he'd just be there, staring. The lockdown happened on a Thursday. We were running lines for the spring play on the auditorium stage. There were only 6 of us. Me, Sarah, Marcus, Jenny, Tom, and our director, Mrs. Phelps. It was about 6:45 p.m., dark outside, rain lashing against the high windows. Mrs. Phelps got a text from the principal. She read it, and her face went pale. Not the pale of surprise, the pale of absolute terror. She looked up and whispered, "Code red. This is real. Get off the stage, now." We didn't ask questions. We had done the drills 100 times. But this felt different. The air in the auditorium was thick, heavy. We all ran to the costume closet, a small, windowless room behind the stage, filled with racks of old clothes and props. Mrs. Phelps locked the door from the inside and turned off the light. We sat in complete darkness for maybe 5 minutes. Then we heard it. The main doors to the auditorium, the ones at the back, near the exit sign. They creaked open. Someone walked in. But they didn't walk down the aisle. They walked along the side wall toward the stage. Click, click, click. It wasn't boots. It was the sound of a metal cane, or something tapping the floor. Each step was followed by a tap. Step, tap, step, tap. We all huddled together. I could feel Sarah's fingernails digging into my arm. Marcus was whispering the Lord's Prayer under his breath. Mrs. Phelps had her phone pressed to her ear, whispering to 911. Yes, yes, auditorium, backstage closet, please hurry." The tapping stopped, right outside the stage door, the door that led from the auditorium to the backstage area. We heard the handle jiggle, once, twice, then a key turned in the lock. My heart stopped. He had a key. Only teachers and janitors had keys. The stage door opened, footsteps now on the wooden stage floor, right above us. The tapping echoed through the boards. Then, silence. He was standing directly over the costume closet. I could see dust trickling down from the ceiling tiles. And then he spoke, a voice I recognized, but it was wrong. It was Mr. Calloway's voice, but deeper, slower, like something was using his vocal cords. "I know you're in there, kids." Jenny let out a tiny whimper. Mrs. Phelps clamped her hand over Jenny's mouth. We could hear him breathing on the other side of the closet door. The doorknob rattled, but we had locked it from the inside with a simple slide bolt. He didn't try to force it. Instead, he slid something under the door, a thin, metallic object. It caught the faint light from the crack under the door. It was a key, a master key. He was giving it to us. Why? Then he said something I will never forget. His voice was almost gentle. "You have 30 seconds to come out. If you don't, I'll come in, and I won't use the door." We heard him step back. Then the tapping started again. But this time it was moving away, toward the stage left wing. And then we heard a new sound. The sound of a gas can, liquid splashing onto the wooden floor. The smell of gasoline seeped under the door. He was going to burn the building down, with us inside. Mrs. Phelps acted fast. She grabbed the key, slid the bolt, and whispered, "Run to the gym. Don't look back. Don't stop." We burst out of the closet and ran. The stage was already hazy with fumes. I saw a figure in blue coveralls standing by the curtains, a lighter in his hand. His face was half lit by the flame. Mr. Calloway, but his eyes were wide, manic, completely black in the low light. He smiled, and he flicked the lighter. The fire caught the curtain instantly. Flames roared up to the ceiling. We ran through the back hallway toward the gymnasium exit. I was the last one. I looked back over my shoulder. Mr. Calloway wasn't chasing us. He was just standing there in the middle of the burning stage, watching us go. Still smiling, we made it outside. The police and fire department arrived 5 minutes later. They found Mr. Calloway's body in the ashes. They said he died of smoke inhalation, but they also found something strange. Tucked into his coverall pocket was a yearbook, open to the drama club page. Every single one of our faces had been circled in red ink, and on the back of the yearbook, written in his own hand, were the words, "They were always here after dark. I just had to wait." To this day, they never found a motive. No criminal record, no mental health history. He just snapped. Or maybe he had been waiting for years, biding his time, pushing that mop cart, watching us, memorizing our faces. I don't stay after dark anywhere anymore, and every time I smell gasoline or cinnamon, I have to stop and catch my breath.